Hey, hi everybody. Welcome to Mindful Monday. Happy to have you here. Give it another moment and see if anybody else pops in. We're a little early. Come a few more folks. Welcome, welcome. Happy to have you back or for your first time in Mindful Mondays. Hello there in the chat. Appreciate that. Just give it another moment and then we're going to jump in. I've got lots to talk about today and get you all involved in. If you don't have something to write with, like paper and pen, grab that. Certainly you can use your device, but I know that when I use my device, I turn to look at my email and things. So I like to use pen and paper. So if you don't have something to write with, I'm going to ask you to write some things down today during our class. So go grab that while we're just waiting to get started for another moment. Hmm. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started while other people join in. My name is Allie Sweeney, and I am a clairvoyant energy healer and a meditation guide. And this is Mindful Mondays. And today we're talking about faulty logic. And I know I was raised in a house where logic reigns supreme, so I kind of feel like I'm going to get struck by lightning just by saying faulty logic, but I'll explain as we go along. But before we get started, I want to know who's here with me. So in the chat, open up your chat, and in the chat, I want you to tell me what can you celebrate today? What moments of beauty or wonder have you noticed recently? Where you focus matters. That's what we're going to talk about today. So if you haven't noticed anything beautiful or wonderful recently, I get it. Sometimes life feels like that. But it isn't because there isn't anything. The sun certainly rose for all of us today, and that is a miraculous and wonderful thing that happens. So, in the chat, what is something beautiful that you've noticed? Something wonderful that's happened? My story is that yesterday, it's getting really hot in Denver. And so I said to my 13-year-old, I said, let's take a half an hour and go through your drawers and switch out your winter clothes and your summer clothes. And I was expecting like some pushback and, not her wanting to do it. And she looked at me and she said, how about if I do that by myself? And I was like, oh, yes. Win, score, my 13-year-old personal responsibility. It was awesome. Looks like you've got some family time that's been beautiful. That can, yeah, weekends in my life are good for that kind of thing. Anybody else have anything wonderful or beautiful? Oh, 28th anniversary. Wow. Wonderful. Congratulations. Oh, yes. I would like more time at a beautiful pool and lake in Florida. Although I think Denver's hot, I imagine Florida is really hot. Anybody else want to join in? Okay. Well, thank you for sharing some of those moments with me. I think it's just sometimes we forget to take a pause and notice. And I think that's why Mindful Mondays are really could be a powerful experience in your lives because our lives are so busy. Life is coming at us so many different directions, so many different ways. And mindfulness is really a time to calibrate, recalibrate, to let yourself catch up with all that's been happening. And so I'm excited to share this with you today and kind of get going on our topic of logic. As I said, I was raised in this house where logic reigned supreme. You got all the data, you evaluated it, you perfected the options, you made a choice, right? Full emphasis on logic and thinking. That was what was most important, that was what was valued. And I've come to recognize this emphasis on the mental field as a challenge. Um, and our mental fields are very good at thinking through choices. And if yours is anything like mine, it can think through choices over and over and over again. But our brains, they operate on logic to create decisions. And a lot of times this is very effective and very efficient. This is what we want in our lives and in our teams, right? It works. And although this is true with logic, sometimes it can be misleading because logic is based on all our different views, our values, our beliefs, everything we've learned, our teachings, our culture, and all of these different values and beliefs go into our logic systems and help us create decisions. I like to think of it as a metaphor like a garden. And so each of us was born with this beautiful plot of soil, rich and fertile, ready to grow all kinds of things. And our parents planted some beliefs in that garden, made some beautiful plants. And then our society came in and planted some other things. And then our religion maybe planted some others, and our culture planted some other beliefs. And it's not necessarily that as we grow up that we start to question those beliefs or wonder even what they are. It's kind of like our operating system that happens. It's this garden that you've always had and you're comfortable with and you understand what it is. And maybe there's even some unconscious plants that are growing in there. And so that's what we're going to do today is kind of dig in the dirt a little bit and look for to see if there's any beliefs in there that are leading to some logical decisions, but aren't really in line with our truth or who we are in present time today. So, what I want to do to start, though, is to do a quick meditation to just get here with you all today. Because in moments of stillness is when we remember what truly matters to us and that we matter, that each of us matters. So I'm hopeful you're in a spot where you can close your eyes. If not, just bring your attention inward. And as you close your eyes, find your breath. And just bring your attention to your body. Just saying hello to this body. Maybe this is the first time today you've said hello to your body. Maybe it's the 17th, but just say hello. Maybe notice how it feels to be you in your body in this moment. See if you can name that. Excellent. Now I want you to become aware of your vertebrae, your upper neck, in your upper back, in your middle of your back, all the way to the very base of your spine. And I want you to imagine that there's a colored beam of light that connects right to your tailbone, like if you had a tail, right where a tail would be. And you're going to let and imagine this colored beam of light grow and extend through whatever you're sitting on, through whatever's under that, growing and extending into the earth, through the bedrock, all the way to the very center of the earth. And imagine it connecting there. So you have this connection from the base of your spine to the center of the earth. It's called a grounding cord in my world. And its purpose is to help you release any energy you might be carrying that you no longer need. So feel that invitation to release any fear or frustration or unmotivation. Feel whatever it is. You might know what it is. You might not. You might just intend that whatever isn't serving you in this moment can go right down that grounding cord. You might notice what space in your body opens up for you as that stress or whatever it is that you don't need flows down the grounding cord. And then I want you to imagine that you could bring all of your attention to the center of your head, right behind your eyes and between your ears. See if you can bring all of your attention there. Now, this is a space that's just for you, right in the center of your head. So if someone else just popped into your awareness, I want you to imagine that a bus pulls up to the front of your head and that person or all those people get on the bus. And you can give the bus a little wave as you watch it pull away. And then just imagine that your attention is right in the center of your head, behind your eyes, between your ears. And now I want you to think about a vibration that you'd like to experience more often in your life. Maybe something like joy or love or peace. And I want you to imagine that there's a great big golden sun above your head. And this sun is filled with your energy. And just with your intention, you're going to call your energy back from anywhere you might have left it, anyone you might have left it with, any time you might have left it. And that golden sun is going to get way bigger than it was. And it's going to be filled with your light. And you're going to write that word of that vibration that you'd like to experience on that golden sun. And that energy is going to become that vibration. And you're just going to imagine letting it fill you. So form a hole in the bottom of that sun and let that light pour into the top of your head, filling you with the vibration that you chose with your energy into your ears, your neck, your shoulders, down your arms, all the way to your fingertips. See if you can notice what it feels like as it fills your chest, your central nervous system, your circulatory system, your digestive system, all the amazing systems in your torso. Through your hips and your pelvic bowl, into your thighs, your knees, your ankles, all the way to your toes. There's so much energy that it's going to spill out the bottom of your feet and surround you. Take another breath in this moment and notice how it feels to be you now. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and stretch your body. I want you to find that thing that you were going to write on, your piece of paper, your pen, whatever it is that you're going to capture your writing today. And I want you to write meditation, and I want you to write one word at least about what it feels like to be you now as a result of just that. I think it was 5-minute meditation. So you might also notice, did it feel a lot longer to 5 minutes to you, or was it just 5 minutes? I know I feel more present and grounded and ready to be with you all. So that's exciting. Okay, so let's keep talking about logic now that we're all here. Many of us are taught that logic is synonymous with good, right? If you think of American school systems, we focus on logical thinking, we teach logical problem solving skills. If A, then B, and the mental field gathers all the information and uses logic to create a decision. If you do homework, you'll get good grades on the test. Logic and good are not always synonymous. Sometimes logic is misleading and it can't be wholeheartedly trusted. And I know that's not what we're taught, so just hang with me for a moment. It can be misleading and not wholeheartedly trusted because of all the conditions, all of those different teachings and values and beliefs that we all have. And so, everyone, as a result of that, everyone's logic is unique to them. So, logic is what's underneath what creates our thoughts and our behaviors and our decisions. And so, because of this, some things got planted in our gardens that aren't really true for us, right? Our logic is faulty. So, some examples of that are like implicit bias is a great example of faulty logic. It's something like, if I try really hard to please someone, then they'll love me, right? That's faulty logic. Revenge is logical. There's always logical connections to war. So hopefully you can see how this is going. I'm just checking the chat here. Oh, yeah. Okay, Sean. So we can definitely talk about bubbles and energetic wards. We'll get to that. So today, what we're doing in these is going to be digging in the garden, right? Really looking for those beliefs that create the logic and decisions or even inaction in our lives. And I wanted to do that through the lens of a energy that's ubiquitous in our society. It's everywhere, and that is drama. So I wanted to do this through the drama triangle. And I share my screen, so hopefully you can see this. And this was first described by Dr. Stephen Cartman in the late 1960s. I got this particular handout from the empowerment dynamic, and I'm going to put that in the link in the chat. So let me talk a little bit about this. This is from the empowerment dynamic, and it's called the drama triangle. I'm not sure if everyone's seen it or not. I'm just going to run through it. If it's not new to you, I mean, it's always great to have a reminder of the drama that plays in our lives. So, what happens in the drama triangle is we have three roles: the victim, the rescuer, and the persecutor. So, the victim in a drama situation is the person who feels powerless, the person who feels like life only happens to them. And then there's the rescuer, right? Who comes in to fix everything for the victim and creates a dependency between the two roles and, gives a lot of their energy to helping the victim. And then there's a persecutor, or as I often call it, the bully. And so the bully is someone who controls the situation, works with blame and criticism and oppression. So in the drama triangle, it's always focused on things that we don't want or we don't like. And as we talked about, right, your focus is your fuel. And so all of these in the drama triangle are rooted in problems and reactions. And if you think about our media, if you think about movies, there are anything on television, it's always rooted in drama and in these roles. And it's not that you have to have three different people to participate. If you think about our president, Trump, he often in one speech or one paragraph can play the victim, the rescuer, and the persecutor. You can play all of these roles and create your own drama right in your own body. Or it could be two people that play different roles, but always there's the three roles. And part of how we all participate in this is that there is a temporary payoff, that we get to feel like we're right, we get an adrenaline rush, we get to feel helpful or useful, it keeps us safe, and it's familiar because this energy is everywhere. So, but in the long term, it's an energy sink. It takes our focus off of what we want, and it takes us from creation into reaction. So it's a way that we give away our power and our energy. So if you have ever felt stuck in these roles or beliefs that come out of these roles, I want you to know that this is a cage with an unlocked door. So if you felt trapped, I mean, it makes sense, right? These are not fun places to sit in, to be the victim or the rescuer or the persecutor. But the door to this cage is unlocked because we can change these beliefs. So when we do that through what this group, the empowerment dynamic, has is calling the empowerment dynamic. So what happens is that the victim changes to the creator. So the creator focuses on what they do want in this life, and they have take full responsibility for creating it. The rescuer becomes the coach. And the coach asks lots of great questions of the creator instead of the victim. And they say things like, what would help? I know you can do it. And what is it that you need right now? So the coach empowers people by asking questions. And then there's the challenger who challenges our assumptions and the status quo and helps drives us all for improvement and holds people accountable. So that's the good news is that we can change these things. And I want to start by having you free write for just a few moments. And I'm going to put this in the chat so you can see it as I say it. Okay. So, what I want you to write about just for a few moments is what role in the drama triangle do you identify with? Oftentimes, there's one that really kind of gets us. We will all play all the different roles at different parts of our lives or even different parts of our days. But which one do you kind of most identify with? And then I want you to think about where drama is present in your life. Is it in your workspace? Is it with your family? Is it with your friends? It can enter into any aspect of your life. So really kind of just pick one of those spaces that you want to investigate a little bit more. And then what kinds of beliefs that could lead to faulty logic are built out of drama and these roles? So I'll give you an example as you start to think about it. Last night, I was super excited about this class. I love teaching it. I love people. I love walking people through kind of this opening the door cage moment. And I was just sitting there kind of thinking about how excited I was. And then this voice came in and said, "You're going to crash and burn." Yikes. So because I'm teaching this class, right, I got curious and I said, okay, what role is that? And I decided that that crash and burn voice was the bully. I thought, okay, so bully. Often bullies, when we're experiencing it with ourselves, is like a protector. And so I thought, okay, bully, what are you protecting me from? Right? And it said, um, the belief that was creating this bully voice said, if you expect too much, you will be disappointed. So that was my underlying belief. That's got what got planted in my garden. I know it was by my dad. I could just absolutely hear his voice, right? If you expect too much, you'll be disappointed. And so that's just an idea of how you can use this drama triangle and the roles to kind of just start asking some questions about what belief might be creating some logic and behaviors in your life, right? Had I not stopped that, if I went with the logic of you're going to crash and burn, I would have really spun in that energy and, become the victim of this class when really I love teaching this class. And so that is the logic that I want to be operating out of. Does that make some sense? If you have questions, feel free to put it in here in the chat. But I want you to start writing, and I'll be quiet for a moment so you can write. And I'll check my notes, make sure I haven't not forgotten to say anything. Okay. So hopefully you've gotten at least a good start on that. I would love to know that you're still there and following. So if you are willing to share any of what you just came up with in the chat, please do. We know ourselves better by knowing each other. And so hopefully you'd be willing to share some of this, what your roles are. For me, I definitely fall into the victim and rescuer. I just, go back and forth between the two. And I gave you my example of my faulty logic. While you're typing away, some other ones that I came up with are like if you have a fear of being found out as not as competent as other people think, like the imposter syndrome, if you're worried that somebody's going to catch you, right? You might work too hard. You might put intense pressure on perfection and performance. You might work longer and harder than everyone else. I can't tell you how many clients I have told in my life that they work too hard, that they don't actually have to work as hard as they do. Um, so tell me something in the chat and then we'll move on, I promise. But what you got? Hopefully you're all just typing. Um, okay. Well, hopefully you're all still writing. All right. So yeah, you're going between victim and rescuer, family protector, logic. Okay. So that maybe it's making some sense to you. Does anybody have any other questions about the drama triangle or the empowerment dynamic? It's really interesting how it can kind of be so unconscious, and then once you start looking for it, you'll start to see it everywhere. So, another example from my life is I was definitely raised with the idea that um, I have an obligation to show up for my family of origin. Like that's what a good family does is they show up to all the events and they're happy. And so often events would come up like last minute and I would just have feel like I had no choice but to reorganize my life and show up wherever the event was. So I didn't stop to consider if I wanted to go. I didn't stop to consider if it was in my best interest. I just went because I had to, right? So, and these events often left me drained, exhausted, drove my husband nuts because, like, some sort of yes woman would just show up and take my place. So, I felt like in those moments that I didn't have a choice, but I absolutely had a choice. And can you see that how that victim energy plays into my obligation to go see my family? And can you imagine how well those family events went? Uh, all right. Well, let's move on. I'm hoping you'll still add to the chat if you're there. Yeah, I know. The persecutor, so this chat says I play the role of persecutor when I feel blamed for something. Yeah, right. It's very real. These roles, they can just be kind of come right in, right? And once you become conscious of them, it's really interesting. You can move from these roles. So as opposed to the persecutor, you can move to that challenger and really start to challenge some of the assumptions of whatever's happening in the situation. There's another chat. My wife listening with me, she asked what happens if you're the entire blue triangle because she's the rescuer. I'm not sure I'm following that one. What happens if you're the entire blue triangle? But yeah, you can be the entire blue triangle. And rescuers, I mean, rescuers have a really interesting. So whenever you play any of these roles, it's very real to you. So you know, when we believe that rescuing is the absolute best thing for this situation, like we believe we're doing good, right? And what you start to notice as you coach instead of rescue is that you're really disempowering the people that you're rescuing. So, parenting is a great example of this, right? You can all picture those parents who have adult children that they continue to rescue, right? At some point, it's time to live your own life. So, it is challenging for the people around you when you stop rescuing, but that challenge is a good thing because it empowers them in their life. So, hopefully, that makes some sense. Okay, but we are going to move on. So, how we open the door to the cage is that we start to change our focus to the empowerment roles of creator, challenger, and coach, right? So what we do from the victim is we move from reacting to choosing, and we start to focus on what we want to create. In the persecutor role, we move from putting down to building up as the challenger. And the rescuer, we move from telling everyone what they should do or how to fix everything to asking them what they want to do, what they want out of their life. So that's what I want you to do next. I want you to find your piece of paper again. I'm going to give you another writing prompt. Here it is. And I want you to focus on the roles of creator, challenger, and coach. And take a look at the beliefs you came up with in the last exercise. And bring curiosity to see where you can rewrite or rethink these beliefs or ideas to a more empowered version. So, in my more empowered version, in the example I gave you before about crashing and burning, and then what I decided my new belief was going to be was I deserve joy. I do. This brings me great joy. So another example could be something like I'm not as capable as they think, right? And so you could change that to something like growth is a part of capability. I don't need to know everything to be worthy of being here. Try that one on in your heads. I don't need to know everything to be worthy of being here. I don't know about you, but that like takes like 1,000 pounds off my back. And if you get stuck in the belief that you're trying to change, I want you to just ask, like, is that true for me? Is that really, really true? So if you were looking at, I'm not as capable as they think, like, is that really true? That's not really true. So it's a way to help get unstuck and start to open that door to that cage. So that's what I want you to do now. And yes, I'm going to ask you to share them again, but I'll be quiet for a moment. Okay. So hopefully you were able to rewrite at least one of your beliefs. I would love it if you would share it in the chat. Some of the ones that I came up with, an example of an old belief would be, I'm only loved when people need me. And I would change that to, I'm lovable even when I take care of myself. Feel the power of that. I am lovable even when I take care of myself. It's a good one. So let me know you're there. Put something in the chat. Oh, and I wanted to tell you that Chat GPT is actually very good at this. So if you open up Chat GPT and you put in your old belief and ask it to create an opposite empowering belief, it can. I put in, I just got lucky, and it told me, luck may have played a part, but so did my effort, persistence, and preparation. So if you're stuck, ChatGPT is another good resource for you. Maybe another moment, see if maybe it's just slow in the chat. Okay, well, while that chat comes in, I want to encourage you to bring this to your teams. So what happens is the more time we spend with people who are not in the drama triangle, the easier it is for us to not be in the drama triangle. And so I want you to bring your teams to Mindful Mondays. I want you to bring these ideas to them, share the replay with them. I would love to start a book club based on this. So, The Empowerment Dynamic is a book. And so, if this is of any interest to you, please reach out to me. But I would love to start a book club where we read this book and then apply it to our own lives and step out of the drama triangle. I am putting all of my contact information in the chat so that we can connect. My business name is A Light Insight. So, here, let me stop the share. My business name is A Light Insight. So everything follows with that name. And so you can find my website and all of this from there. So, but really, what happens when we have other people around us who are also choosing to be mindful and choosing to be conscious of these beliefs and conscious of what beliefs are creating their choices and their behaviors is that it makes all of us better and some more productive. Yes, thank you for sharing. I am worthy of a meaningful connection just as I am. Wow, that feels really powerful, right? And so I'm guessing that your original belief had something to do with unworthiness and not feeling worthy of an authentic connection. So, how beautiful. You are intrinsically worthy. That is the most beautiful part of this. We all are. Okay. So, what we are going to do next is become a bit more mindful. Yes, I've had you writing these pieces and I'm introducing these concepts, but what we're going to do is a slightly longer meditation to end our session together. And the reason this is important is because we've just talked about a lot of change. We're talking about changing beliefs that may have been with you your whole life. And that can kind of be like jarring to the system, right? Your body's like, wait a second, what's going on? And you start to fear the change, even if it's good for you. So, what we're going to do is a little meditation to help calm that down, to help letting change be something that is for your highest good. And we're going to replace pressure with presence. So, to do that, before we start, I want you to think about some areas in your life that represents stability for you. What will stay the same for you? Maybe it's your work, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's your family, your home. For me, I always use the sunrise and the sunset. The sun has been with me every day of this life. And so it doesn't get more stable than that. I also use a park in my neighborhood, trusting that it will always be there for the common good. So I want you to get two or three of those ideas in your mind before we start the meditation. So, and then we'll get started. I'll give you a moment to figure that out. Those areas of stability. Okay. Now, if you can, I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to bring all of your focus to your breath. And so you might notice the temperature of your inhale or the temperature of the exhale. If you like that, you might stay there. You might notice how your chest expands and your shoulders rise with each inhale and how they fall with each exhale. Or you might simply notice the sound of your breath, the inhale and the exhale. But whatever you do, focus on one of those aspects of your breath: the temperature, the expansion, the sound. And as you do that, I'm going to read you a quote from Marianne Williamson. She says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others." Now, I want you to move your attention to your belly, to your gut area. If you have trouble bringing your attention there, just take a big, deep belly breath. And just notice, what physical sensations do you notice here? Are your muscles tight? Is your digestion constrained? Maybe you notice something less physical, like a vibration. Now, if you had some concerns about change happening in your life, it's your gut's job to alarm that there's a change on the horizon. So you might notice some tenseness because we've been talking a lot about change. But that's okay. We're going to help soothe this space by remembering those aspects of our life that are not going to change, that are remaining intact. So those areas of stability that will remain the same. Maybe it was your work or your family. Maybe the examples of the sunrise or the sunset. Anything that will remain the same. Bring your attention to that. And focus on your breath. And if you're still struggling to find some ease, maybe remind yourself that you're safe. Any changes that are happening for your highest good. Life is happening for you, not to you. You could try an affirmation of, I ease into change because I am rooted in stability. And then bring your attention to your heart space, right in your heart. This is the seat of your soul. This is where you can often find that you matter and what matters to you. See what's here for you in this moment. Sometimes it's a sensation of warmth or a feeling, an emotion. Let's see if you can name it. Let yourself imagine maybe one of those old beliefs being pulled from your garden, you pulling it from your garden, and planting something new that's meaningful and precious to you. So maybe that sounds like I am worthy of a meaningful connection just as I am. Maybe that sounds like I am loved even when I take care of myself. Maybe I deserve joy. And this time, let's imagine that vibration in your heart. So it could be the same one we started with today, love or peace or joy. It could be freedom because we're moving out of that cage, replanting our garden. Maybe it's curiosity. Whatever it is, you'll know what it is. And just imagine that vibration in your heart. It could look like a little spark, and it will grow and expand with your attention, with your focus. Your focus is your fuel. Let yourself focus on that vibration, growing and expanding until it reaches the top of your head, out into your fingertips, and down into your toes. Bring your attention back to your breath. Consider being really happy with yourself for choosing to meditate today, for looking at beliefs in your life that might not serve you anymore, might be creating some faulty logic, and for participating in Mindful Mondays. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and stretch your body. I'd love for you to write on your paper one more time what happened in the meditation for you. What did you feel? What's noteworthy that you could write down? And if you're willing, type it in the chat, share it with me. I'd love to know how you came along. If you were with us, or maybe you took a nap, that's okay too. Sometimes that happens in meditation. I promise you, you can't do it wrong. No matter what happened, you're still receiving the messages and the vibrations and the energy. This is also a great time to ask any questions. If you have anything about the drama triangle or the empowerment dynamic, peaceful and grounded is what's coming in about the meditation. Wonderful. It's also an okay time to hop off if you want to go journal more. Take these last few minutes in our hour to do something that you choose to do exactly for you because you want to do it. I would love that for you. I'll give you another moment to pop in any questions. Know that I am really grateful for you being here. Oh, yes, I can share that. Asking for the quote. Here it is. And we'll put it in the chat. I want to encourage you again to reach out to me. I put my information in the chat. I want to encourage you to reach out to me if I can be helpful in any way. And know that next week, Alex Sabag will be here for Mindful Mondays, and her topic is why not me? So as we look at this quote from Marianne Williamson, she says it really well. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Who are you not to be? And that's really what Alex is going to get after next week at the same time on Monday. So hopefully you'll join us then. Thank you all. I'm grateful for you for being here, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Have a great week. Be mindful.